Hello guys! Today we will take another look at the recently released campaign map footage for Total War Warhammer 2. To be more precise, we will specifically analyze Lustria, the home continent of the Lizardmen. As we will see, there are also other major races represented in Lustria. In this video we will highlight the shown factions, landmarks and settlements. I apologize in advance if I butcher some of these expressions. For the people who have already seen the campaign map trailer and want to directly jump towards the analysis, you can find a timestamp in the video description. Without further ado, here is the part of the campaign map trailer featuring Lustria.
Even skirting the coastlines can pose a threat, as treacherous reefs and shallows take their toll on the drafts of your transport ships. Here in Lustria, certain races of the old world have gained footholds. Will you put their outposts to the sword, or make allies of these adventurers, securing their loyalty for the challenges to come? Across the landscape lie the ruins of ancient cities. You may choose to erect new settlements in their place, or instead delve them for hidden riches and lost magical artifacts. Dangers may lurk in the depths, however. Be ever watchful, for rogue armies roam these lands. Composed of warriors from many races, they lay aside their former animosities and band together in the pursuit of riches and power. Not all legendary lords campaign within their homelands. The High Elf Archmage Teclis begins here on the Turtle Isles, deep in Lizardman country. He faces a wholly different set of challenges from his brother Tyrion in Ulthuan. Lustria's jungles are the domain of the Lizardmen and their fearsome saurian beasts. The Slan Mage priests rule over this place, directing the Lizardmen according to the great plan decreed by the Old Ones. They too seek to preserve the vortex and prevent calamity. The geomantic web, ancient lines of power connecting the great temple cities, lies in disarray. Should the Lizardmen revitalize these strands, their efforts to enact the great plan will be much enhanced. And here we see Lord Mazdamundi, mightiest of the living Slan. He and his army have adopted the astromancy stance, granting them unmatched insight into their surroundings. Finally, let us join the legendary Saurus warrior Krok-Gar and his Lizardmen cohorts as they prepare to do battle with a High Elf force at the ancient portal of the Fallen Gates.
Alright, before we turn our attention to the shown footage, let us first take a look at the map of Lustria, as shown in the army book. Once again, I've selected two maps. One of them is a rather simple map, which only shows the main cities and natural elements in Lustria. The second map I've chosen comes straight out of the Lizardman army book of the 8th edition. It includes more cities, shrines, the vegetation and the topography of Lustria. As you can see, Lustria is extremely similar to South and Central America. You even have a river with the same name, the Amazon River. Furthermore, you have a huge mountain range in the west, the Spine of Sotak. Lustria also includes arid, desert-like regions and jungle regions, just like its real counterpart. Even the temple cities of the Lizardmen remember us of the real Mesoamerican counterparts. Their pyramids are extremely similar to the historic Mesoamerican step pyramids. Even the naming of their cities is vocally close to the Mesoamerican counterparts. As already stated, the Lizardmen are not the only race living in Lustria. The Citadel of Dusk in the very south of Lustria is an old colony of the High Elves. As we will see later on, there are also vampires, greenskins, humans, Skaven and dwarves who live in Lustria. In the north, Lustria shares a border with Naggaroth, the dark lands inhabited by the Dark Elves of Malekith, the Witch King. During their golden age, the Lizardmen inhabited dozens of glorious cities. Their great temple cities stand upon nexus points of the geomantic web. The geomantic web is a matrix of natural earth energy flowing through the entire world. The Lizardmen and most of all the Slan seek to protect the geomantic web. Similarly to the High Elves, they want to keep the Great Vortex stabilized. However, since the Great Catastrophe, the first Chaos Incursion, the Lizardmen are in a steady decline. They have lost most of their strongholds to Chaos and other enemies. Due to their steady decline, there are only 4 major cities remaining in control of the Lizardmen. Itze, the first city, Xlanhuapec, the city of the mists, Tlaxtlan, the city of the moon, Hexuatl, the city of the sun. After covering these basics, let's proceed to the analysis of the campaign map footage. We start our journey in the Great Sea. In the first screenshot you can see a Lizardman vessel. Considering the pyramid on top of it, it's very easy to recognize. Furthermore, we also see a glowing shipwreck, possibly explorable. As told by the narrator, the ruins and shipwrecks appear to be explorable, which means the player will possibly obtain gear and gold by exploring them. In the second screenshot we get a close-up of the shipwreck. The glowing might indicate that this ship still harbors treasures to be obtained. The narrator also tells us about the treacherous reefs in this game, which might allude to a new mechanic when sailing through reefs. In the background we can also distinguish a bluish Lizardman banner. While most factions still have rectangular banners, the Lizardmen actually have circle-shaped banners. In this screenshot we might possibly see a restored city of the Lizardmen, which was formerly destroyed. We can also see glowing ruins which might belong to Zarmuda. Zarmuda is a former Lizardman settlement, which sank to the bottom of the sea after the first Chaos Incursion. The glowing effect might once again indicate that there are still treasures to be gained from the ruins. We proceed to the Vampire Coast, a part of the eastern coast of Lustria. The Vampire Coast derives its name from the presence of the vampire pirates. We can see a vampire vessel with the banner of the vampire pirates. There's also a minor vampire settlement with a new model. In this screenshot we can see a major vampire settlement with a new model. We also get a better glimpse at the banner of the vampire and undead pirates. Carrying this banner is a vampire lord with an old model. This could be Arch Grand Commodore Luther Harkon, leader of the vampire pirates. He has been raiding and terrorizing the eastern shores of Lustria for centuries. South of the vampire coasts are the volcanic islands. We can also see a third vampire settlement. We come across the vast jungle vegetation of Lustria. A huge part of Lustria is covered by this very dense jungle. We can also see a greenish Lizardman banner in the far south. The camera then takes a turn towards the inner of the continent. On the riverbanks of the river Lombarda, or Curvessa as it's called in the 8th edition, we see the ruins of Axolotl. While Axolotl also fell during the Great Catastrophe, it was rebuilt afterwards. However, each time it is rebuilt, it is pillaged and subsequently destroyed by Luther Harkon. Interestingly, these ruins are not glowing. This might indicate that there are no further treasures to be gained. However, as indicated by the narrator, it could still be rebuilt. There is a second set of not glowing ruins right besides them. In the background, we can see an accumulation of glowing ruins. Moreover, we can also distinguish 2 yellow Lizardman banners belonging to the same faction. After closing in and comparing with the initial map, these banners could belong to Itze. The temple city of Itze is one of the 4 remaining living cities of the Lizardmen. While Itze, the first city, can be theoretically considered the capital of the Empire of the Lizardmen, since the Great Catastrophe, Hexuatl has gained in reputation and power. The decline of Itze is due to the absence of its Slan mage priest. Lord Croak, the protector of Itze, and the oldest and wisest Slan mage priest at the time of the first Chaos Incursion, sacrificed himself to save Itze from the Chaos Host. By doing so, he banished thousands of Chaos demons into the Chaos Realms. However, in doing so, he lost almost all of his powers, only remaining a weakened shell. The next screenshot will delight all the Skaven fans. We get a close-up of glowing ruins. However, the structure to the left seems far more interesting. The narrator mentioned that dangers may lurk in the depths. This is a blatant indication for the presence of the Skaven, crazed, giant, somewhat anthropomorphic rats. Proceeding towards the western coast of Lustria, we come across a Saurus Oldblood, a lore-type character for the Lizardman armies. Furthermore, we get a glimpse at what might be the restored Xotl. Xotl is the home city of Grog Gar, one of the 2 legendary lords of the Lizardmen. The mighty Kroq-Gar is the last survivor of Xotl. Even after its fall to the Chaos troops during the Great Catastrophe, he continued his courageous fight against the Chaos host. We will return to Kroq-Gar later on in this video. In this screenshot we see a Saurus Scar veteran, a hero of the Lizardmen. Furthermore, we also see a rogue army with an ancient tree man as general. The rogue armies are a new mechanic in Total War Warhammer 2. They are an individual army composed of units of different races. Next up, we get a look at the Dwarven faction in Lustria. As you can see, there's a dwarf banner right beside the mine of the Bearded Skulls. In the background we can already see an accumulation of glowing ruins. We get a glimpse at the second dwarf hold in the mountains. We can also recognize two settlements. However, after taking a look at the initial map, we are absolutely certain that these are not ancient Lizardmen temple cities. We can already see the Turtle Isles in the background. Teclis, twin brother of Tyrion and Tylor Master of Earth, starts his campaign on the Turtle Isles. We can see him carrying a banner connected to the White Tower of Earth. He might be on a quest for magical gear and relics of the ancient Lizardmen. Here we can see a small section of the spine of Sotek, the huge mountain range spreading across Lustria. We come across a settlement with greenskin effigies, indicating the presence of greenskin tribes in Lustria. In this screenshot we can see a swarm of pterodons, frantically soaring through the skies. In the far background we can also see the Great Vortex on the continent of Ulthuan. We meet the bluish banner for the second time. Considering its position, it might belong to the Lizardmen of Tlaxtlan, one of the 4 remaining living cities. We can see what appears to be the restored Tlaxla, the city of the sky. We can also observe a second camp with greenskin effigies. Right behind it is a skink chief, a hero of the Lizardmen. The camera takes a turn and advances northwards. We come across some glowing ruins. But most importantly, we see a big rock-like structure with green glow. This is the second major indication towards the presence of Skaven, as this structure is undoubtedly warpstone, a product of the solidification of chaos energy. Considering the pure magic emanating from warpstone, this is a very powerful but also dangerous energy resource. Most of all, the Skaven would do anything to get their hands on precious warpstone, as they don't care about the negative side effects. We then meet an orc warboss and what appears to be the restored city of Spectezuma. Further in the north, we can see Lord Mazdamundi. After the sacrifice of Lord Kroak of Itza, Lord Mazdamundi, Lord of Xotl, became the most powerful and wisest of the Slan Mage Priestess. Most of all, he also remained the most active one. While the other remaining Slan Mage Priestesses often go into hibernation, Lord Mazdamundi is a lot more active. We also see a banner of an unknown faction in the background and a lord carrying the banner of Pirasos Lost Legion. Pirasos Lost Legion are the remnants of an expeditionary force sent by merchants of Tobarrow, a Tilean city. They are led by Fernando Pirazo. Pirazo is obviously based on Francisco Pizarro, Spanish conquistador of the Incan Empire. We also get a glimpse at the human settlement model. While we don't know which faction this banner belongs to, it is certainly not affiliated to the Lizardmen. Lord Mazdamundi can be seen in the astromancy stance. While in this stance, he connects to the geomantic web, getting a better overview of his surroundings. He is carrying the banner of Xotl, the city of the sun. While the settlement behind him might be Xotl, I seriously doubt it, considering its very small nature. Here we get a better view of it. Considering the high status of Xotl, it should be a lot bigger and more splendid. There's also a Lizardman hero, a skink priest nearby. Proceeding towards the northern border of Lustria, we come across more glowing ruins, but most of all a second site of warpstone. We finally reach the northern border of Lustria. In the background we can already see the continent of the Dark Elves, Naggaroth. Kroq-Gar can be seen riding on top of the mighty Carnosaur Grimlock. After the end of the first Chaos Incursion, or the Great Catastrophe as the Lizardmen call it, Mazdamundi summoned Kroq-Gar to Xotl. Having lost his home city of Xotl during the Chaos Invasion, Kroq-Gar decided to follow the call of Mazdamundi. Here, he can be seen riding with his cohorts towards battle at the Fallen Gates. This concludes our analysis of the campaign map footage of Lustria. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and feel free to comment and discuss. If you always want to remain up to date, feel free to subscribe. As soon as we have further information on the Dark Elves or Skaven, I will obviously upload a video with more details about it. See you around next time!